Hey everybody, we're back on the Chevy, and I'm hoping at the end of this video we are cranking this thing over and see if it's going to start. So let's see what we got left to do.
No, you're not bringing home another piece of junk.
Alright, so here's where we left off last video up here. I kind of showed all this already, how everything was wired. Now, I still got to put a coil on it, and I've got to put, my distributor cap and my plug wires and all that good, all those goodies on there. I think I may have, I was thinking there was one more wire over here I had to run. Maybe not. But I do got some harness grounds I need to land for the ECM, so I got to do that. But been working on my fuel system down here tonight. Now the guy that had this before me put a new tank in it, and he put a 8AN bung in the bottom right there, and was running a Holly red or blue fuel pump down here. So anyway, I got that, I used his old bracket, strapped it to it with a piece of rubber, and I got a pre-filter on it, and got a hose running to that, and then we're running all the way up to the front. And then, man, rolling over gets tough when you get old. All right, and I got my wiring run up through there, and I used the original harness and just tapped onto that plug and ran it to the pump. So 2 wires for the pump, 1 wire for my sending unit, and we are good to go back here. I've got that all tied in. Okay, so next thing I need to do is I need to get a drive shaft in here, and I gotta see, I think the one is gonna fit, but we need to check it and see. So let's dig that thing out. Let's see what we got. Now I had bought all new U-joints and a center support bearing, carrier bearing, because I thought I was using this old drive shaft and it was busted out of there. But this one, it's got some surface rust on it, but I'll tell you what, this looks like it has been replaced recently. And all of these U-joints are tight, and they've all got grease fittings on them. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just use this as is instead of tearing this whole thing apart. Everything is good and smooth, tight. I don't see any reason to rip it apart. I'm just going to put some grease in it, and I got to dig up my bolts for the back of it. And let's slide this thing up in there and see if it is going to fit. All right, let's see what we got. All right, drive shaft fit right in there. Exact right length like I had hoped. This way. See up there. There you go. Grease all the U-joints up, so we're in good shape. Now all I need to do is get some grease in this thing. I don't have any here, so go by the store, get some gear lube, and we're pretty much done under here. Just a few more wires to run, and yeah, we're gonna fire this thing up in a few days. All right, so let's keep on going. All right, got this thing back on the ground, and I got some grease in the transmission, and I've been going through here and got my cap and wires on, got my coil on, got the plug wires on. What, don't you love cut to fit wires that are like 10 times too long? So I'm going to shorten a couple of those. The rest of them are okay. But got that, got my O2 sensor in, and I did you can buy this little doodad from off of Amazon. I switched to a heated oxygen sensor because, you know, the regular TBI oxygen sensor is up closer to the manifold and it was going down there, so I went and switched to a heated one. And it's a 3-prong, and then you can get this little plug with it, and you just ground one side, run one side to ignition, and then this goes to your O2 sensor plug. So I still got a couple of wires to extend here. I gotta get my O2 sensor wire up there, and then I got through here that I gotta get on there. Like, I don't need the vehicle speed sensor to start, so I'm not gonna worry about that right now. I just gotta get power back to the PCM, and I'm hoping that PCM is good, because it came out of that van and that thing sat for many years. So if it doesn't work, I'll pull the one out of that van and try it and see what it does. I got another one up there, but it's a different part number. I don't know if it's the same or not. So anyway, I'm hoping tomorrow I'll get those wires run after church and pick up some gas, and we're gonna try and fire this thing up and see if it'll start. I ain't gonna run it long because no coolant, and I need to do a cam break in on it. So I just want to make sure that the fuel injection system's working, that it's getting fuel, and that it's gonna fire. And once we know that, yeah, I'm gonna start putting this front end back together on it. So, all right, that's all for tonight. Let's pick this back up tomorrow afternoon and see what we can do here. Okay, so I'm going around cleaning up the wiring. I had it turning over, but I wasn't getting any signal, and then I found some of my grounds weren't landed yet. So we got those landed, and I forgot all about turning the camera on. So let's see what we got now. We're close. Go back this way a little bit, see what happens. It's trying. Not running good, but it's running. Go back this way some more, what it'll do. You can see the injector's firing. Oh, my battery's going down now. I got oil pressure though. Could be a plug off on the shiver cap too. Definitely timing. That is definitely a timing problem. That could also be not having the valves adjusted right. But computer is working. It's turning the pump on. It's giving it fuel, so we're headed in the right direction. I think we are out of time. Let's try it there. We're gonna have to check the timing on this thing because I'm wondering if I'm not a whole plug off on the cap. It doesn't seem to make a big difference which way you turn it, so that's kind of what it seems like. Now I'm killing my battery, so and there's a battery out of my van, so I can't kill that thing. But anyway, it is firing. Computer's working. Both injectors are firing. So and ignition's firing. So we are headed in the right direction. Could be valves out of adjustment too, but I think we're going to start with timing. I'll get this thing back on top dead center and look at where we are on there. I'm thinking we're pretty far off. So, all right, well, let's call that. Let's check back into this in a bit. All right, so I killed the battery. I got it on a charger, but I put this thing back on top dead center and looked, and I was definitely a whole terminal off on the distributor cap. So I fixed that. But now what I'm thinking is, I'm wondering what, when I put this together, when I adjusted those valves, if I was adjusting them 180 out, like when I thought it was number one top dead center, if it shouldn't have been though, but I may have to go back through them. Either way, I killed the battery, so I gotta let that charge up before I can try to start it again. So, but we're making good progress. All the vital signs are there. You know, we got spark, we got fuel. So I know the PCM's working. Both injectors are firing. So yeah, let's get this thing to kind of run a little bit better, and then once we do that, we'll start looking at putting the front end back together on this thing. So this week for sure, you know. I don't know if I do any more today on it. Might get back on it tomorrow. Got some chores to do today, but we're making progress. So I guess this video ain't very long so far. I'll just keep this one going, and maybe tomorrow night we'll get back out here once that battery's getting hot, and we'll try this again. If we have to, we'll pop them valve covers off, and we'll recheck those valves, because it like I said, I could have had them wrong. I've done that before, where I adjusted them thinking number one was in the firing position. It was actually number 6. So when you do that, your valve adjustments are all off, and it was kind of blowing back through the throttle body. So that's a good possibility. But you know, easy check, not a big deal. Okay, so that's all for tonight. Let's take a look back tomorrow. All right, so I went back through it, pulled the valve covers off, readjusted the valves. Some of them were pretty far out, and I think that's what happened. Is I put the distributor in 180 out and then adjusted the valves. So when I thought I was firing number 1, I was firing number 6, so I just adjusted the wrong one. So let's see what we got now. Better. That's definitely better than what it was. You know, I still got some things to work out. I haven't done any programming on the computer, so we're just kind of plugging it in and going from there. But it looks like the injectors are firing. I got oil pressure, so I don't want to run it very much without the radiator on it. So I guess we're going to go ahead here and get the core support put on, get the radiator on, get some fluid in it, and then try to run it. Just start putting this front end together. And like I said, I'm not 100% sure on that computer. I'm still back popping through the throttle body a little bit. So, but anyway, it's good progress, and it does start, and so that's a good way to start. Plus, I got to check my fuel pressure too at the throttle body and see what that is. So it's very preliminary, but anyway, it does run, so that's good. So I'm going to start digging out front end parts, and we'll do the core support first. I got to paint the one wheel well and bolt it to the fender and get it on here. My oldest son was supposed to do the other wheel well for me, but if any of you guys out there got sons, you know how that goes sometimes. So I guess I'm doing that myself. And got some wiring to figure out too, because I am my ignition is even with the key off, my ignition's hot, and my fuel pump tries to run just when you hook the battery up. So I got to figure that out. But so I guess we'll make this one a little bit shorter. I don't know, there's a whole lot of excitement about getting the getting all the parts bolted on, watching them being bolted on. So I'll probably just go ahead and get stuff out, start putting it together, and we'll get another video going and check in on that. But yeah, so we're in the right area too. Plus we need I got my water temperature sensor, and there's no water in it, so I really got to get the thing running and up to operating temperature. And I might pull the computer out of my van that I use for parts hauling, because that one's run all the time. This computer sat since 2004, so I don't really know what kind of shape it's in. So anyway, we'll make this one a little shorter. We'll do a little message here in a minute. And next one we'll get back and we'll start looking at this thing, getting some parts bolted on. Once I know all this is right and working, then we'll put some wire looms on and make this look neat. So, all right, so that's where we are. Does it run? Yes, it does run. Does it run good? No, not yet, but it will. All right. All right, so one more thing I meant to go over on here. Somebody asked me a while back, just kind of go over what you got to have on the fuel injection. So if you're going to go to the junkyard and buy all the stuff to set one of these TBIs up, I would recommend get one off of an S10 truck or a full-size truck. Like I said, the struggle with the van is the weirdness of all the length of wires. Now I did the whole harness, fuse box and everything. You don't have to do that if you've got a older car and everything works on it and you just want to, you don't want to do the lights and all the interior harness and all that stuff. You just want to do the computer. So I would still grab the whole harness, and the only sensors you've got to have, your water temperature sensor. You got to have a map sensor, which is right here. Then you got your throttle position sensor. That's part of the TBI. You got to have an oxygen sensor, which can be heated or not heated. If you're using manifolds, you just use a stock one. If you're putting it down further in the exhaust, then I would use a heated one. So you need your computer. You need your spark controller. You need your vehicle speed sensor is another one that some people run without it. And I've done it that way and it's been okay, but really you need that vehicle speed sensor and the vehicle speed sensor buffer to send a signal back to the computer to tell you when you're coasting to slow down. And if you don't have that in there, it can cause your engine to die. So I think that is all the sensors you need. Was that 5 sensors? Yeah. Okay, and you need your computer controlled distributor. You can run these with a regular HEI, but I really don't see a reason to. You know, let the computer control the timing on it. It's designed that way. Yeah, and I believe that's it. And then websites, Gearhead EFI is a website where they have a lot of wiring diagrams, and they have a forum on there of a lot of people using TBI stuff. So you can, and you can get all of your programs to download into your computer once you, you know, if you can use it stock if you want, or if you're going to change the chip. But here's gearhead.efi.com. So check that site out. Motes.com is kind of linked with this site, and you can get some of the parts and pieces you need there, like chips and chip adapters and that kind of stuff. Okay, so I want to get that in there. Didn't want to forget about that. So, all right, let's go ahead and go inside, and we'll see what the Lord's got tonight, and so we'll make this one a little shorter, and we'll call it. So, all right, check back on that in just a minute. Hey all, thanks for hanging along on this video. I know it's a little shorter than the last few, but like I said, I think this was a good cutoff point for this one. We're going to start bolting some sheet metal on this thing and doing some more assembly. I really don't think I'm going to get this thing, be able to get this thing running right until I get some coolant in it, you know, get the cooling fan working, and then you know, then I can leave it run longer and kind of dig into what's causing the little issues with it, and get my programming where it needs to be. So, so I think this is a good place to do that. But anyway, I wanted to put a message on here, like always, most important part of the video to me. And I think I will just pass on what we talked about in our church service this week. Our pastor has been preaching out of the book of Ecclesiastes for the last several weeks, and I've shared some of that, and just been some really good stuff. So I really enjoyed it, and a lot of good perspective in it. So the theme to this is kind of Ecclesiastes chapter 5, and a lot of this talks about the love of money, and man, that is something we as 21st century Americans, we really should know about, because man, we're such a materialistic society. You know, it's all about money and stuff. And I just remember when I was a kid, you know, we grew up in a house that my dad built that was about 1,000 square feet, and we didn't have air conditioning until I was a little older. So I was about 12. You know, I had a lot of siblings that, so they didn't have it when they lived there. And, you know, my dad always drove some old truck to work. He was a union bricklayer. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. You know, she was a homemaker. And he always had some cheap old car for her. And, you know, he had, probably like most Americans back then in the 70s, you know, the 5 TV channels, and the phone hung on the wall, and we didn't eat out very much, and we didn't have a lot of stuff, but we you know, we were happy, and we didn't feel like we were poor. Well, of course, by I guess a lot of people's standards, we might have been, but you know, my dad was a hard-working dude, and a lot of families lived like that back then. But now we fast forward to these days, and my gosh, the size of the houses we have, and we have hundreds of TV channels, and everybody's got cell phones, and everybody's got, the newest video games, and iPads, and this and that, and, and multiple cars. Imagine a home without air conditioning these days. And just the amount of places you can go nowadays. Like when we would take trips as a kid, you would see, you wouldn't see a lot of chain restaurants. I had a sister live in Oklahoma. We drive down there, and it was the old diner places all the way down. But now it's like every town is just inundated with all of these hundreds of thousands of franchise chain restaurants. It's just so different and so materialistic these days. Not to say money is a bad thing. We can be we can have money and be very obedient to the Lord with it. It just needs to hold the proper place in our life, and we need to keep a loose grip on money and on things. And so just a couple of points from this. It says money will not bring joy. Worship of money will lead to oppression. Worship of money brings dissatisfaction. That's verse 10. Where is that? He who loves money will not be satisfied with money, nor he who loves abundance with its income. This too is vanity. Worship of money causes anxiety. Well, we know that's true. How am I going to pay this bill? Or how am I going to pay that bill? Or if it's not paying the bills, where am I going to get the money for this new thing that I need, or these? Worship of money can result in pain. We'll look at verses 13 through 17. There's a grievous evil which I have seen under the sun, riches being hoarded by their owner to his hurt. When those riches were lost through a bad investment, and he had fathered a son, and there was nothing to support him. As he had come naked from his mother's womb, so he will return as he came. We need to remember that. He will take nothing from the fruit of his labor that he can carry in his hand, and this also is a grievous evil. Exactly as a man is born, thus he will die. So what is the advantage to him who tolls for the wind? Throughout his life he also eats in darkness with great vexation, sickness, and anger. And then we go on to the second point. The true worship brings true joy. When money and things hold the right place in our life, and when we're generous with those things, and we hold on to them loosely, and we just remember that ultimately all things belong to God, and we should use for his glory. Takes the load off of us. So we want to worship what is good. We want to work as unto the Lord, and be content and seek joy in God's provision. Whatever that is in your life. Maybe you've got a lot, maybe you don't have a lot, but our focus of our life should not be to just get more and more and more. It should be to use what we have obediently, enjoy the things that God does allow us to have, and make sure that we are being generous with our treasures, with our time, and with our talents. So that's a message for today. I hope you liked it. And let's say a quick prayer, and we'll get out of here. So, Father, we thank you for the many blessings that you give us, whether it be whether you're blessing us monetarily, or maybe you're blessing us with a struggle that we're going to learn from, that we're going to is going to bring us closer to you. Just help us to find joy in that, if that's where we are. And help us always to reach out to our fellow man, to be generous with what you have given us, and to be obedient with what you have given us. And we ask this in the precious name of your Son, Jesus. Amen. All right, hit like, hit subscribe. Keep on watching. I know people watching these has kind of been down lately, so I don't know if it's boring or what, but this is the path we're on. We're gonna keep going on this project for a while. So. All right, I will catch you on the next one.